Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. I was
Yeah, good
really
morning.
concerned that our timer was going to go wonky this time.
No, it worked well.
Looks great. Looks great.
We have a new timer for all of our regular viewers.
Yeah, but you really need to know what we were talking about before we start.
Yeah.
But we're not going to divulge that yet. We'll do a show about that
We'll
Yeah,
do
exactly.
at some point. But yeah, if you'd
Yeah.
if you'd been part of the backstage, it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, it
let's
was.
just say we'll do a show about employees that do things that are socially unacceptable, or coworkers that do things that are socially unacceptable. We were just discussing that. That's all.
That was said so nicely.
Yeah,
You're so
exactly.
good.
All we're
Exactly.
So
saying for
nicely.
now. I'm very diplomatic, which is
You
why
are.
I'm the one that has to address those things.
You are very diplomatic. You're a great mom.
Yeah, exactly.
So welcome to Thrive Live, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's not like, what is it? No work Monday. What is it? Lazy Monday.
Come on, get with the lingo. Bare minimum Monday.
Bare minimum Monday.
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah, and
What
then
is-
Terrible Tuesday.
Not Taco Tuesday. Terrible Tuesday until it's Taco Tuesday, right? Tacos make life
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. Today's just Wednesday, middle of the week.
Yeah, just a regular, normal,
Just regular hump day, like
work
Yeah,
day
exactly.
that you have to deal with.
Nothing. Yep. So today we're talking about using ChatGPT, using their analogy tool. And I have not used this, admittedly, but you guys were both saying that you use this all the time.
Well, we saw two really great Inc. articles, and we love Inc. We're going to be speaking at Inc. at the Founders House March 10th in like 2 weeks from now. And so Inc. was kind enough to invite us to come out and speak. And so we're big fans of Inc. We love you. Like I said last week. And then, we saw two really cool articles in Inc. And we wanted to talk about them just because, we actually liked them so much. And so ChatGPT, so you were looking at the analogy function or the comparison function in ChatGPT.
Yep, exactly. Inc. did an article on how to use ChatGPT. And it's an AI platform. And right now it's in beta test, and so Jason and I were fortunate enough to be allowed in to use the tool. And one of the things that really it's a really cool tool for presentations, and that's what the Inc. article was about. It's like, okay, if you're going to have a presentation, you can ask the tool, give me some information on this topic, and it'll give you information. You can use that for your presentation. But then if you want to tell a good story, because again, it's all about the story and making a point. If you ask it to give you an analogy of that topic, it actually spit out a really, really good analogy that you could use in your presentation. And the presentation that they were referring to was around inflation. And what does inflation mean? And and we've been using it for other things too. Jason, you want to maybe talk a little bit about some of the things you've been doing?
Well, some of them have been actual cool things where I've used a few of them, and I need to talk about this on LinkedIn. I've been actually having it do some LinkedIn posts for me and comparing LinkedIn posts in terms of people looking and people browsing at them compared to mine. So I'll share some of that. So it's been helping me with that. It's good at doing some comparing and contrasting in terms of putting together some concepts and being able to break them down into a pretty easy way to digest the content. And so one of the things that I put in the Slack, if you guys don't have access to ChatGPT yet, is I had it compare marketing to marketing communications. I know it's pretty simple and most people probably know the difference, but there are a lot of people that struggle with what is the difference, what does marketing do, and what does Marcom do. So if you want to go in our Slack, we can add you and you can take a look at that example. And then I had it write a letter to an employee about an employee issue, just because I wanted to see how good the letter would it be actually what I would call camera ready, meaning could I just take the letter and pretty much fix it up just with the appropriate names and salutations. And it actually did a pretty good job. I actually think I could probably use like 80% of the letter for what I was testing it for. So there's a lot of usability. It does have limitations. It's only as good as the data that goes into it by the people that are programming it and training it. And so some of that data is good and some of that data is poor. But yeah, overall, I think it's, it definitely has a lot of use. I think one of the things I haven't done, but I've been hearing a lot of, is people putting really detailed spreadsheets and then asking it questions based upon this information in the spreadsheet, excuse me, and then it'll parse out information related to the spreadsheet faster than a human can do. So that's a very cool thing with ChatGPT. So we've been utilizing a lot, and it's definitely compelling. It's not the be all and end all, but it's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, and the other thing that I used it for, we're taking a look at our website, our company website, and and looking at, okay, let's do an assessment, and what do we really need, and how should our website be set up, and I asked a question, hey, what's really important, for a professional services website, and it gave me a list of probably 10 items, very specific items that we should focus on as we take a look at our website. So that was a real world example of, hey, here's a, if I had to go and do a Google search, I mean, I'd be doing that, for 30 minutes, and I got it back in a minute and a half or 2 minutes. I mean, it was great. And then I also did a search on workers' compensation, because one of our clients is we've got a workers' compensation claim going on, and basically ask the question, what are the local laws around workers' compensation in Colorado? What can you do? What can't you do? And instead of me going to the Colorado website, and going through a ton of data, it popped it all out. I mean, so I think there's a lot of good uses for it, and it's from my opinion, if this thing gets really, really good, I think it's going to eliminate the need for search, because that you can combine all the data in one place, and it's easy to consume. But
and the other thing too is you have to realize it's going to change the value of information. So when you call somebody and you ask for them to provide you information on a tax issue or an HR issue, or some other legal issue, what is the information that you're able to just pull automatically out of ChatGPT? So your information, and if you're not doing this, you're probably going to start to have to do this, is your information better than what's coming out of ChatGPT? Because if you're trying to sell a service and your information is not as good as what you can just get for free out of ChatGPT, then you've got a problem. So it's really going to up-level the services that everyone provides to make sure that it's at a different level than what you can get for free.
Exactly.
So I was thinking about other uses for this as you were talking, and I just remember growing up in school and doing reports and needing the encyclopedia.
Mm-hmm.
And now with this option, couldn't I go in and say, compare Shakespeare's blah, blah, this to Mark Twain's blah, blah, that, and have it like pop out my report? Like, isn't that an option?
Yes. And I did that, and I made my daughter cry.
No, why? Why?
Because she had to write an 850 word report on a book that she read, and it was really, really good, and she's a very good writer. And so I went to Chat.
By the way,
yeah, she's a great student. So I went to ChatGPT, and then I gave it like a one sentence, basically task to write about this concept from the book that she was writing about, and it was the same concept, and literally it pushed it out like in 86 seconds. 850 words, and I handed it to her. She's like, "Oh my God, that's not fair." So she was pretty sulky about that.
So,
but it was written well. Yeah.
Is this something that teachers need to start looking into as far as plagiarism or
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's I guess after this I don't know what's plagiarism anymore. Is it plagiarism if you take it from ChatGPT? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
or
Jason,
from somebody else's report.
You said that you asked ChatGPT a couple of wonky things to see what it would.
Oh yeah, because I'm odd sometimes and I like to have fun. So I don't mean maybe not odd, but I like to have fun. So maybe that's a better way of
Pushes
saying
the
it.
limits is what it is.
Yeah, testing the limits.
Yeah.
So many of you have probably seen the movie Terminator and the many iterations of the Terminator movies, and you know that the evil corporation that took over the world in Terminator, led by the AI and the robots, was Skynet. Is the name of the corporation that did it. And so I asked ChatGPT about Skynet, and it got a little bit tight with me about ChatGPT. So I'll read.
Jason offended the AI.
I did. I really did. And so I'll read it to you. You guys thought it was funny, but I'll read it to you. I'm sorry, but I believe there has been some confusion. As an AI language model, I have not used Skynet or any other fictional technology to take over the Earth or harm humans. It's important to distinguish between fictional stories and real-world technology, and to approach AI and related technologies with an open mind, while also being mindful of their potential benefits and risks. So yeah, I got a little snarky when I asked about that.
Yeah.
So that's how you know it actually is AI, because if it was a real person, it would have told you in no uncertain terms to go jump in a lake.
Yeah, it would have said like it would have been like, you're stupid. Like, what, we're really talking about this? Yeah.
We're canceling your log on.
Yeah, exactly. And I just hope that there's but there's probably so many of them, but I was hoping there was like a programmer back there going, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, right. So that was your constructive criticism from the AI.
Oh, I have others, but it's definitely, I think the biggest one is the information in is the main part. So it has to be getting good information, and it has to be getting the entire picture of the information for you to get the right answer. So if somebody's only putting in one set of data, and there's another side of that data that needs to go in and it's not getting that, you're going to get an incomplete picture. So you got to be mindful of that.
So where does it get the data from? Is it all through their programmers, or do people add in, like in Wikipedia? Can you
Well, it's an open architecture system. So different individuals are continually adding information into the tool, and the other thing too is I think folks have got to really understand that Microsoft is spending billions of dollars on this technology, and they think that really it's going to be the next big thing from a technology perspective. So so it's I think folks need to get a little bit more informed as we go.
Yeah, it gets a data dump of information from all over the internet. So basically, it just it doesn't really disclose, or I haven't seen anything where it discloses what information it's chewing through, but it essentially gets an information dump. And then what it does is in my brother-in-law, he does not call it AI. He says that's a bad word for it. He believes everything that we're looking at right now is machine learning. So Bill Anderson, shout out to you for machine learning as opposed to AI. But yeah, so and then it just churns through all that data, and just does nothing but churn through it, and then it's able to then provide the information that you ask it for.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Very interesting.
Yeah.
If I was a student today, my life would be so much easier.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. Still doesn't help with math stuff. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But could you? I want to ask it like math word problems and see if it has an aneurysm.
Yeah, that's right. I haven't done that yet. But then you don't know it on the test. That was always the problem.
Yeah.
Like I could cheat like crazy on the homework, which I did. But then I would get to the test and I would be like, I'm just gonna fail this, because not only did I cheat, I didn't know anything while I cheated.
Yeah.
Yep. I love those word problems. I prepare a group of them for my granddaughter, every week, because that's one of the areas she needs to work on. So I'm not sure if we'll have to give ChatGPT a test on that.
There you go. Yeah, that can be your task.
Yeah.
Did you get it right, or did ChatGPT get it right?
Exactly.
That's a fun game. I like it. So we also wanted to talk about Inc. Magazine did an article basically about well, it's like a Q&A, right? It's like a Dear Abby for
Hmm.
those of us of the age that we know who Dear Abby
Yeah.
is. Um,
Who?
where, where is that still around? No, I don't
Yeah.
think so. But where people would write in and they would ask questions, and the experts at Inc. Magazine would answer the questions.
Hmm.
And one of them, a manager wrote in and said that he has an employee, and when he gives her any slight, teeny tiny little bit of not criticism, just more like,
Feedback. We call it feedback.
feedback,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
that was really good. In the future, maybe we can add some of this into the report or something like
Yep.
that. She would lose it, like for hours. She was down. She would cry. She couldn't function. Which is, I mean, that's true. That is absolutely something that people have, trouble with. But how do managers give feedback without harming someone
Hmm.
emotionally, I guess,
Yeah.
right? So that was part of it.
Yeah.
And then also, how do we as managers not become the therapists of our team,
Yeah.
which is quite tough
Exactly.
as well. Like, I'm quite
Yeah.
mothering, so I tend to
Yeah.
pull this stuff in, but at a point I'm like, well, here's a phone number you can call. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what do
It's up
you
to you. It's up to
what do you
you.
do?
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
do? And then what are your rights as a manager when you do have somebody that's so disruptive, unfortunately, because they have, personal issues that they're pulling into the office? All of
Yeah.
those questions, guys, go.
Well, I mean, a couple of things. It was an interesting read, and we'd recommend Ink again. For folks that haven't looked at the story. But the real key for managers is to really understand their team and to adjust their approach based on the team member.
Right.
Because some employees love to be praised in front of others, and other employees, really it becomes a negative because they're so shy.
Mhm.
And the same thing goes with feedback. Some of your employees are able to accept it and they want it, while others, you know, they've always gotten a trophy after every game, and a snack, and no negative feedback ever. And then when they get to a job, it crushes them. So
Yeah.
I think it's really upon the manager to adjust, and at some point, if the employee is not able to take you know that feedback, it becomes a performance issue, because you can't you know lose 2 or 3 hours of work, just because you got a little bit of feedback. I mean, you've got to
Right.
still go and perform your role. So I think that's a challenge of managers right now. They're managing multi generations in the workforce, and everybody's a little bit different, and as to how they what they want, what they need. Jason.
Yeah, everybody comes from a different set of circumstances. So, I came out of being raised where, my dad would be really clear. You're stupid. You're just a moron. That's why you can't figure it out.
Right.
So for me, I'm like, I'm somewhat immune to people saying mean things to me. It just kind of comes off of it goes off of my back like a
Yeah.
duck in water. So I can handle really direct feedback and bounce back from it. And I have a lot of resiliency, and it doesn't bother me. I remember I used to have a manager, and she used to scream at me in the meetings, in our team meetings. And she would say, I'm giving to that project to Jason because he's my bitch. And people would come up to me and they would be like, "Oh my god, are you all right? Are you offended?" And I'm like, "No, I don't care." I didn't even really hear her say that. So that's
Yeah.
how it just
Yeah.
went off. But so that's a really bad example, because obviously you can't manage people like that. But so where I'm going with this is that Jimmy Buffett sings about, we're going to take our boat and sail between the navigational beacons. And so when you give people feedback, stay between the navigational
Mhm.
beacons. I mean, you want to be extremely professional when you give people feedback. Like, this is what I'm seeing, this is what you did, this is the impact of on the project, or this was the impact on the individual, or the project wasn't successful because you did X, Y, and Z, and here are the examples. Mm-hmm. And so if you stay very factual and you present it in a very, compelling manner where you care and you want the person to do better, you're going to, be in the best possible situation where somebody's going to see your intent. Now, there are situations where people are going to really question it and think that you're out to get them. And that happens. Some people are afflicted with that personality. And that's when I really would say you need to go to your manager and you need to go to HR and you need to say, look, I'm struggling here. Like, I'm really doing this in the best possible way. I'm not yelling. I'm not screaming. I'm presenting facts and data. We're having positive conversations. We're having one-on-one. You do all of that stuff, staying between the navigational beacons. And then, like Ray said, it becomes sort of a different problem. But if you're going to work, you have to be able to accept feedback. It just comes with the territory. Sometimes I wonder with my kid, I worry about that, especially when, she'll do something and I'll be like, that's kind of a half-assed job. Mm-hmm. And she'll be like, why would you say that to me? Blah, 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 blah. I go, because somebody who is paying you money is going to say something worse. And
somebody who doesn't love you like I love you is going to say that. And it's really going to, like, you know that I love you and I'm telling you this to kind of thicken your skin, but somebody else really doesn't care about that. Like, I tell my kids when they have problems with other kids at school, and I'm like, you know what kids see right here. If it's not in front of them, they don't care. So you thinking that they really are making a big deal about whatever it is, they're going to ask why I was out last week. And I'm like, they don't even know you were out.
They don't even care.
They don't even care about you.
Yeah. My father used to say to me, another father example, my father used to say to me, who cares about you as soon as you walk out of the door and you get into the world? Who's going to care about you out there? No one. And so, I mean, yeah. So for me, like, I mean, and I don't impart.
When you get out in the world, nobody's going to love you like your mommy. Yeah. No, I don't say that.
No. Well, it's sort of but not that I ascribe to that and raise my daughter that way. I don't say that, but I am pretty clear with her. Like, you said, you get a lot of love, you get a little attention, and this is your safe space, and your parents are always here for you and love you no matter what. But, when you go in and you're working and you mess up on the Johnson report, nobody's going to be like, oh, Lexi, oh, you gave it a good try. I love you. You're great. They're going to be like, hey, Walker, you screwed up the Johnson report. What's going on with you? And so, like, I try to, like, tell her that. Like, this is just reality.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
And the other thing, too, is as managers, I think you've got to you got to provide both sides of feedback, the positive feedback. And when somebody's doing a good job and letting them know they're doing a good job, or they're patting them on the back, as well as the the constructive one, and but I think we've got to a point where whenever you get pulled aside and said, hey, I want to give you some feedback, it's like, all right, well, what the hell did I do wrong? Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's never. Feedback is never positive. That's just the way it is in corporate America. I'm like, I want to give you some feedback. It's like, well, I don't really want to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's even worse when somebody comes and says, hey, I want to talk, and they're carrying a piece of paper. You're like, oh, no, this is really bad.
They want to talk, and HR is sitting in their office.
Well, that's well, that's like really the end of the road. Like, the paper is like somebody's going to put an email in front of you or something. They're going to be like, hi, did you respond to this? Is this your email? And you're like, oh, shoot. I know exactly which one he's talking about. So, yeah.
One thing that I did notice that the article talked about, which I really appreciated and sort of resonated, was there's a way of delivering the information. You can say the same words, but it's the way that you present the words to the individual. And I have to do that in my household with my children because, and my husband, because they all have different personalities.
Yeah.
Where the delivery system has to be geared more toward their individual personality. And if I don't, it could go pretty sideways pretty fast.
Well, it's like Jerry Seinfeld says, it's a tone. I didn't realize until I was married and had kids that I have a tone problem. Jerry, you have a tone problem.
I have a tone problem.
Yeah.
I have a tone problem when I'm in a hurry. when I'm in a hurry and I'm walking out and I just I'm very informational, right? Here's the facts, let's go, move it on. Let's go. Task completed. Okay, move on. But the rest of the family doesn't necessarily receive the information the way that I mean to put it out. So I have to stop, breathe, and form the sentence before it comes out of the mouth.
But I think the important thing to take away from this is a good manager, you're going to manage your team and you're going to give them really great praise. And hopefully that's what you get to do most of the time, that you get to praise them and say, you're doing a great job and you're fantastic. And thanks for doing this. And, if you make sure that you give them the praise, that those times when you have to pull them aside and say, hey, look, this didn't go really well, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, my manager so supports me and is always praising me and really thinks highly of me, that they're really going to step it up and be ready to, address their behavior if you talk to them. I mean, if you never talk to your people, you never praise them, you never say anything, then when you have to give them some sort of feedback, they are going to crumble and it's going to be bothersome and they're going to be upset by it. So you have to have the approach where you're just being a good manager and praising, and then you're using the proper techniques to communicate to people. And if you do that, it's going to work out very well.
Absolutely.
Yep. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right,
so I think the learning here for folks is, you gotta adjust your approach to your employees, and you've also got to make sure you're providing the positive feedback as well as the constructive feedback. So
yeah, and you have to change your management style. So if you've been in the business world for a while and you're still more of a command and control individual and very direct in your communication and very black and white and more stern, and that's how you've managed in the past. And I just had this conversation this week with somebody who has a group of managers that are like this and they're struggling with retention, and I said, look, you got to change. I mean, those managers have to change. Employees of today are not going to deal with that. So if you have a bunch of those people, chances are your attrition is going to be poor. And so you do have to change as a manager on how you're managing people. But if you do the things we just talked about, you're going to be in a good spot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also, one more piece of advice is to read Inc. magazine.
Yes, read Inc. magazine.
Yeah. We love Inc. magazine. Definitely.
And call us for help in managing your employees, because ChatGPT cannot give you this kind of data. So
exactly.
And how do people get in touch with you?
Well, there it is. Thrive HR Consulting. Just drop us an email.
Yeah.
And then if you want to be in our Slack, just let us know and we'll add you to our Slack. It's a growing community. People are getting into it, asking us questions and HR questions and talking about different things. So we're trying to grow the community. So it's really taking off, and we'd love to have you on there.
So to join the Slack channel, drop an email to that email address.
Yeah, and then I have your email, and then our team will invite you. Our outreach team will invite you.
Yep.
Excellent.
And also, if you're going to be in the Austin area for South by Southwest next week, we're going to be there from the 10th. Jason will be at the Inc. House on the 10th, and then I'm going to be doing some mentoring on the 14th, on Tuesday the 14th. So we'd love to see you. Drop us a line, and we'll buy you a coffee. And a breakfast.
And his sessions, his mentor sessions, sold out they were free, but like Taylor Swift, they sold out like in 26 seconds. He was filled.
Right.
Filled.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I heard the South by Southwest website went down for a little while too. It was like half a second.
Really?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, he crashed it. Ray crashed it with people trying to get it.
Ray crashed the internet.
But he also has a mentoring track. So if you were interested in joining his mentoring track, you can also, and he'll do group mentoring and he'll do one-on-one mentorings, and those are available now to sign up for. And if you're interested in that, just email Thrive at Thrive HR Consulting, and we'll get you set up on his mentoring track. I have a mentoring track too, so you can do mentoring with me or Ray, and we're ready.
Yeah. All right. And again, Thrive at thrivehrconsulting.com. Have a great Wednesday.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Talk later.
Take care.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for joining us. Please remember to search Thrive HR Consulting on social media and wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe, follow, and share to make that connection. To get an invite to our Slack channel, just comment or drop us an email at thrive@thrivehrconsulting.com. See you next time.